this new edition of our short courses for Geneva-based delegates under the P166 program of UNTAD. Today we have a very, very interesting program that will be introduced now by Randa, my colleague as moderator, and Luzma, the director of the Trade and Commodities Division. I would just want to say a few words to give you a brief update regarding the future activities of the P166 program, which I'm sure are of interest to all of you. As you may have learned, our program has had to undergo a number of adaptations to confront the financial situation in the United Nations, to find solutions to the liquidity crisis that is affecting us for a couple of years now. And one of the measures that we have taken is to update or improve the delivery mode of our regional courses to make them hybrid events rather than purely in-person events in the regions. This has required an effort on the side of the team and also on the participants from the different divisions of UNTAD to adapt the curriculum, to rethink the modes of instruction, the mode of interaction with the participants. We are quite hopeful that the new methodology will not only improve the outcomes in terms of capacities gained by the participants, but also improve the inclusiveness of the program in terms of facilitating participation from a broader range of national policymakers in our programs. The first instance when these new modalities will be implemented will be in Northern Macedonia in a little more than 2 months from now, in mid-July. We are now undergoing the selection of the participants. We have had a very significant number of applications, showing the continued relevance of the program. And moving towards the second half of the year, we will have another regional course hosted by the Diplomatic Academy of Egypt in Cairo, and that will be targeting the Arab countries. So the message here is that in spite of the challenges, the financial challenges that we are facing, we are making every effort to make sure that the program continues to make available to policymakers in developing countries the best possible capacity building, to give them access to the knowledge products that UNTAD produces for developing countries and to support policymaking for development. This is what I had to say in terms of the regional courses. I would also like to invite you to approach the Secretariat with ideas, with thinking in terms of what topics you would like to see in the program of these short courses for Geneva-based delegates. What are the issues in the international agenda, the problems, the challenges that you need to deal with in your functions as representatives of your government here in Geneva and the different multilateral fora where you're working. So we want to learn from you what we can do to improve your understanding of issues, of course, of issues within UNTAD's mandate, because we are only looking at economic development aspects that fall within our mandates. But let us know what you would like to see on the program of the P166 for the second half of the year. We are here really at your service. This is all I have to say at this point. I am going now to hand over to Randa, who will introduce the speakers of today, and we will start the substantive discussion. Thank you very much, and I look forward to a very rich meeting today.
Thank you so much, Angel. So first, actually, and before her opening remarks, because this is the first time She's in a P166 short course, and it is really an honor to introduce the Director of the Division on International Trade and Commodities, Luz Maria do Lamora. She is the Director of this division, which handles trade and commodities, and she is the former Vice Minister for International Trade, and for decades she worked in government and private sector positions. And Ms. de la Mora developed a career in international trade policy, negotiation, operations, and trade promotion. During her tenure as Vice Minister for International Trade of Mexico from 2018 to 2022, Ms. de la Mora led Mexico's trade and investment policy, overseeing 14 free trade agreements with 51 countries. To bolster Mexico's development, she steered discussions in the WTO, the United States-Mexico-Canada Trade Agreement, Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnerships, and Pacific Alliance, among others. She also coordinated policy dialogues and handled private sector consultations. Ms. de la Mora holds a PhD in political science from Yale University and a master's degree in international affairs from Carleton University and a bachelor's degree in international relations from El Colegio de Mexico, Mexico. She is fluent in English, Spanish, and proficient in French, and it is really an honor that she's here with us today, and she will address you, and it's also you can exchange with her as well on her division. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good morning, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, colleagues, and friends. Thank you, Randa, for the kind introduction. It is really a pleasure for me to be able to welcome you all today to this short course on the Global Trade Update and Trade Preferences Outlook 2025, Navigating Amid Evolving Global Trade Dynamics. I would like to thank our colleagues from the Policy Capacity Building section and also the Division on Technology and Logistics for organizing today's event. We meet at a particularly consequential moment for the global economy. International trade continues to grow, but beneath the headline figures, the global trading environment is becoming more fragile. Geopolitical tensions, political uncertainty, rising trade restrictions, and shifting market conditions are creating new pressures for all economies, but especially developing economies and least developed countries. In such an environment, timely, evidence-based analysis becomes indispensable. One of UNCTAD's core responsibilities is to help member states navigate complexity by providing objective analysis, practical policy insights, and data-driven tools that support informed decision-making. This role is especially critical during periods of uncertainty, when policymakers need reliable information, not only on what is happening, but also on what these developments mean for development prospects on the ground. And this is precisely the purpose of products such as UNCTAD's Global Trade Update and the Trade Preferences Outlook. The Global Trade Update has become an important tool for monitoring fast-moving trade dynamics. It provides timely analysis of global trade trends, emerging risks, and structural shifts in the international trading system. It also helps identify how these changes are affecting developing economies differently, including through volatility, changes in competitiveness, supply chain disruptions, and evolving trade policy measures. For its part, the Trade Preferences Outlook, where I hope that you already have your copy with you, if not, it's outside this room, complements this analysis by focusing on the changing role of non-reciprocal trade preferences. These arrangements, including the Generalized System of Preferences, also known as GSP, have long supported export growth, integration into global value chains, industrialization, and poverty reduction. However, their stability and predictability are increasingly affected by policy uncertainty, economic fragmentation, unilateral trade measures, expiring preferential schemes, and changing market access conditions, among others. So taken together, these two products, the Global Trade Update and the Tariff Preference Outlook, help frame the challenges facing developing countries in today's international trade environment. They show why timely analysis, predictable market access, and practical policy options are essential to support developing countries' competitiveness, sustained growth, inclusive development, and economic diversification. But today's course is really much more than only the publications themselves. It reflects the importance of remaining closely attuned to the needs and expectations of member states, as Angel was already mentioning in his introductory remarks. As the trade landscape evolves, UNCTAD must also ensure that our analysis, our technical support, and the policy tools that we recommend and offer remain relevant, accessible, and responsive. Events such as today's course also allow us to share analysis, hear directly from delegates, and strengthen our dialogue with member states. So I hope today's discussions will provide useful insights into the current trade environment, deepen understanding of the challenges facing preference-receiving countries, and also, more importantly, contribute to broader reflections on how trade policy can actually support inclusive and sustainable development in line with SDG 17. I also want to thank my colleagues from the Division on International Trade and Commodities that will be here with you today, and who will lead today's sessions and share their incredible expertise and their very professional analysis. I wish you all a productive and engaging discussion. Thank you very much. Back to you, Randa.
Thank you so much, Ms. Luz Maria de la Mora, the Director of Division on International Trade and Commodities, for giving us actually the roadmap of what we will cover today in the course, looking at trade outlook updates and looking at trade preferences and so on. So what we're going to do today is we're going to have actually several sessions, as you can see in the program. We're going to start with looking at the global trade update, and we're going to actually, this is a very updated monthly outlook that is produced by the division, and this will be presented by our colleague Alessandro Nicita, who I'll introduce shortly. Then we will move to trade preferences under pressure and basically impact of uncertainty on developing countries. And this will be presented by Tai, who I will also introduce shortly. And then we will look at shaping the future of trade preferences, policy options for inclusive and resilient growth. And this will be presented as well by both of our colleagues, Mesut and also Federico. So I will start in introducing the speakers in the order that they are presenting. So it's a pleasure to start with introducing Alessandro Nicita, who is a senior economist at the UNCTAD, specializing in trade policy, non-tariff measures, trade resilience, and global supply chains. He has contributed to numerous UN publications, and his research was published in several scholarly journals. His work supports evidence-based trade analysis and policy design that foster inclusive and sustainable growth. He is the author of UNCTAD's Global Trade Update, Facts and Figures, which you will hear about extensively today from him. And also, it's the organization's flagship report that provides time analysis of global trade trends and developments. Through this work, he contributes to a deeper understanding of how trade dynamics, policy shifts, and external shocks shape global markets. Additionally, prior to joining UNCTAD, he served as an economist in the World Bank. Welcome, Alessandro, and thank you for being with us today. Next, I would like to introduce Taisuk Ito, who is the chief of the Trade Systems Section Division, also the Division on International Trade and Commodities, UNCTAD. He leads the work of the team responsible for trade preferences, South-South trade cooperation, and the international trading system, and serves as the focal point for the global systems of trade preferences among developing countries. He holds a master's degree in international relations from the Graduate Institute of International Development in Geneva. Thank you for being with us today, Tai, and welcome. Next, we also have Mesut, who's on my far right, Mesut Seygeli, who is an economic affairs officer in the Trading System Services and Creative Economy branch, also in the same division, and he served as an economist in the research department of the Central Bank of Turkey before joining UNCTAD. His research work in UNCTAD focuses on international trade in goods and services, international trading systems and technology, and innovation. Seygeli received his bachelor and master's degree in economics from Middle East Technical University, Turkey, and his PhD in economics from the University of Washington. Welcome, Mesut. Thanks for being with us. And last but not least, on my far left, we have, it's a pleasure to also have Federico Manto, who is an economic affairs officer in the Trading System Services and Creative Economy branch, also in the same division at UNCTAD. He contributes to its branch's work on the multilateral trading system, South-South trade cooperation and trade preferences, with a particular focus on the global system of trade preferences among developing countries. Previously, he worked at the International Trade Center, where he conducted and analyzed firm-level surveys on obstacles to trade in the European Union and contributed to different reports on trade and development. He holds a master in economics from Luis Guido Carli University in Rome, Italy. Welcome, Federico. So let's move to Alessandro, who's going to take us through the global trade update, growth trends and rising fragility. And then also, right after his presentation, we will take your questions, comments, and then we'll move to the next session. Over to you, Alessandro.